Hey everybody, this is Jonathan Lapton. You are listening to another episode of the Perilous Podcast. Hello YouTube, Angie and I are back. We took a little hiatus hiding from the Illuminati after the last podcast. Now Angie is an actual adult and her life got busy. Well, you know. Yeah. Adult-ish.
New show on ABC.
Adultish. Things just get away from us. So one quick announcement, we are going back to twice a month instead of once a week, just because you're so busy and I'm so busy. But we do love doing this, and we love the hate mail and all the other things that go along with it. So we're going to keep doing it, but we just, life stuff. And no music today. I'll probably lay in music for the YouTube video, but my computer, my very expensive laptop, seems to not be as cooperative as my $300 Asus, which I am going to give to my cousin Jasmine because she wants to start her own podcast.
Oh, that's nice.
Hi, Jazz Bones. So this week we got to talk about the shit show that is everybody. And everyone's terrible. That's the title of this one. It's everyone's terrible, and this is going to seem political, but you know, and you seem to get confused when we were texting about it, which is this conspiracy of silence.
Yeah.
In regards to sexual assault and rape, and not just in the entertainment industry, but politics, but everywhere. Anywhere there is a power dynamic, there is the potential for sexual misconduct, and again, I think, and you and I were talking about this, which is it's not about sex, it's about power, and it's about power, and it's hard for me as a guy who isn't into non-consensual sex to understand the mindset.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, I've really been struggling with that. Now, look, we all have sexual peccadillos, and we can be a little kinky at times or freaky at times or whatever and like certain things, but consensually, it has never occurred to me to, while in the grocery store or a parking lot or whatever, to just, grab some titty. Now, having said that, I have, as you know, have a tendency to be incredibly inappropriate, which I think has more to do with my mental issues in terms of just not really having a filter. Maybe just being a little eccentric or weird, and it's not malicious or whatever. Plus, I'm a guy, and that's not an excuse. But no, you can be a PhD from MIT. There are certain things that are going to trigger your guyness. Fart jokes, poop jokes, boob jokes. You know what I mean? Like, you are either Beavis and Butthead, or you are a very well-educated Beavis and Butthead. And, we run this gamut of emotions, as do women, but our emotions are different, which is, and that's where I get into this whole thing where, I'm Facebook, everybody stay off Facebook. All my female friends who have a right to be outraged at certain things are now being outraged by the right things, being outraged for the wrong things, and then at times just looking for things to be outraged by. And I get it. It's anger and frustration and betrayal and all these things, but teaching men not to view women as sexual objects, or hoping that we can evolve men to a point where we truly see women as sort of this non-sexual entity, in my opinion, that's never going to happen, and in the end you don't want it to happen, because men, and this is coming from a 48-year-old man, and we've talked about off air my personal journey this past year in terms of looking after someone that needed it. And so I will agree that rape and sexual assault certainly happens more than I I thought it did. Not that I thought it was non-existent. I still contend we do not live in a rape culture in the sense that men are shit, but the vast majority of men, we condemn on both sides. We are not inherently rapists or sexual assaulters. We can do a better job. I mean, I'm learning to do a better job in terms of, making sure women feel comfortable and not threatened. It's like when we first started doing this, and I told you, bring Colin. I'm leading you into a windowless, soundproof room with 3 doors, and I wanted you to know that this was safe. That you know what I mean?
Yeah, and that's more men who do stuff like that, or even like small things. Like if you're out walking at night and you see a woman alone, cross the street. Like, don't walk behind her at a slower pace or pass her, like, and say excuse me and like pass, because that is like every woman I know. We talk about that where you feel somebody behind you, you don't know what they're gonna do.
Yeah, I do a compromise because in the end I am a dork.
Yeah.
So I will cross the street, but I'll wave and say hi.
Yeah, I mean that's.
Hey, how are you?
Yeah,
I'm going over there.
And obviously there's situations where you can't do that. It's not like you have to do it, but like. If just think about like how women might feel in like situations.
Absolutely, but I also want to make it very clear that you're not going to want to hear. There are going to be some times when you're going to want to yell at me during this podcast. And go ahead. Men are never going to stop looking at women in a sexual way. But. The best we can hope for, okay, is because the vast majority of men are not sexual assaulters, and I know women experience it almost every day in some way or another, but a guy leering at you or checking you out, that isn't sexual assault. That's just a guy fighting his lizard brain.
Yeah. But don't you feel like reducing it down to, I feel like I really hate when people are like, well, women are like this, or men are like this, and when you reduce it down to like, well, even MIT people, like, men are gonna be like, only want to look at women as sexual objects.
I didn't say only.
No, but I'm not saying it's bad, but don't you feel like that takes away your agency too?
Absolutely, but that's where I'm getting to my point, okay, which is, when I see a woman, look, when I was 19, when I was 20, all I saw were potential mates. Yeah. Because you got the hormones and it's insane, right? But I was also raised right, and so no, like, I have one of my dearest friends, a couple of my dearest friends are women, and it's not sexual at all. I don't look at them that way. I can appreciate their beauty for what it is, and it's not a thing where I'm like, here.
Yeah.
However, women tend to be more intellectual in the sense of from blush. And again, I'm speaking in generalities, but we have to for now because everyone is different. But men are these creatures where it's that instinct of, and we are way more visually stimulated. That is science. I'm sorry. It really is. That's why you and I could be talking, and if a butterfly flew by here, I'm the dog from Up. Yeah. It's like, let me tell you about Squirrel. Yeah. That movie's very depressing.
It's so funny.
It's that, when I first watched that movie, I'm like, what the fuck is going on?
The whole movie.
It's terrible.
My friends are like, it's my favorite movie. It's such a good story. I'm like, no. That old man never got happier.
No, if you want to see a fun animated movie, go watch Big Hero 6.
Yeah.
Big Hero 6 is awesome.
Baymax is
Baymax is awesome. Okay. So the thing is, for the most part, and again, for the most part, men are going to view women in some aspect sexually. Most women. And it depends on, and it's also, it comes down to, we all have a checklist of what we find attractive, but by and large, men, there's that component of, wow, she's very attractive. We don't use that word attractive. We she's hot or, but also, but to be able to see you as more than, to be able to see you as, okay, yeah, she's very attractive, but she's a human being. She's a lawyer. She's a mother. She, you know what I mean? To really, what men I really think need to work on is to take that step and do everything they can to humanize. And it's not enough to say, well, I have a sister, so of course I'm a, oh, God damn it. Hang on one sec.
Oh, yeah.
Take that step and humanize women. Sorry, everybody. We had my computer had a stroke.
Yeah. And like about that is like, that is the most important thing. We are all are human. I think sometimes I don't like generalize, but sometimes men forget that women have that same thing. Like we check out guys, especially when I was single. I walk into a room if we're at like a party or something. And first thing you do is like see who's there that you're like I could be interested in, but like kind of like making sure that you continue to think of them still as people, even if you think they're attractive. Like,
right, but I think the difference is where, and again, I'm not making excuses. I'm trying to talk about, with men, it is, yeah, women are sexual beings. Women get horny. Women like sex unless they're raised by a fundamentalist Christian. No, but I shouldn't say that. But you know what I mean. Unless you are, but men, I'm 48. Here's something to all the young listeners, especially, here's something for the fellas. If you're between the ages of 13 and 19, and everyone still tells you you're going to reach your sexual peak at 18, they tell you that because if you had any inkling that you would be as horny at 48 as you are at 15, you'd fucking kill yourself. It's terrible. It is horrible because there is this constant thing going on where it's I don't know what it is. I have to assume it's biological, where I don't think women, and I don't think it's cultural. Women just aren't as obsessed with physical pleasure carnally as men. Now, this has nothing to do with what's going on. Right. This is just trying to, so, but what I'm saying is, especially in the SJW movement of, and we've talked about this before, where I have a problem with, like I saw a post on Facebook about allowing your child to choose their gender. Okay, fine. But for now, like, a parent should apologize to their child for labeling them a boy just because they had a penis. Like I go, okay, just stop. Like, I had these lovely neighbors who were a lesbian couple. They had a kid, and it was a baby. I said, oh, is it a boy or a girl? And they said, we don't believe in that. I said, well, what is it right now? We don't believe in that. We're going to let it choose. Okay. But and I don't want to get distracted. What I'm saying is I have certain issues with stuff, but excuse me.
Well, can I just say about that? I would rather let them be who they are when they're older, but for now, I have a lot of friends who restrict what kinds of toys their kids play with. Like, the boys can't play with dolls.
No, that's bullshit.
That's the bigger problem.
That's bullshit. No. That's absolute horseshit. If your son wants to play with Barbies,
like, God forbid he learned how to care for another human being in that play sense. Like,
well, and there's no difference between, there's no difference between a doll and an action figure. Yeah. Except we call one an action figure because more masculine. It's like, when I was a kid, you know what a Shirley Temple is. Yeah. Right. Unless you're a boy. Then do you know what it's called? No. A Darth Vader. No. It's the same fucking drink. You know what I mean? But I'm saying, it's like, yeah, I remember when I was growing up, I like pink. I think it's a very soothing color.
I read something about that before in some kind of a psychology thing, that boys actually are like, they are really attracted to the color pink until they're a little bit older, and they're either I can't remember what it was. It was like a legitimate study that was done. It's like they either are told they can't like that, or like some of it is they change their, like, then most people like blue as their adults.
But I still like that. I find it very soothing. Yeah. I like wearing pink. I look good in pink. Yeah. But when I was growing up, it'd be like, oh, I want that shirt, and they'd be like, I don't know. But then I'd be like, I'm buying the shirt. Right. And my friends would be like, and again, this was the 80s, what are you gonna go trolling? Fag this and that. And it's like, dude.
Yeah.
It's
a shirt.
A shirt.
Yeah.
And here's something interesting. Did you know back in the 1800s, pink was considered a masculine color and blue was considered a feminine color? Yeah. Now, having said that, my favorite color is green, so that throws the whole thing out.
Yeah.
But okay, so let's get to the point where so I do believe biologically men are fundamentally, for the most part, when it comes to certain things, there are differences between men and women. Mm-hmm. I think in the dating world, and again, every person's different. There's going to be outliers in every single one. But, and I know this from talking to men and women, mm-hmm. women want to get to know a guy and feel safe with a guy and trust the guy. And if everything's going really well, then they want to have sex mm-hmm. with the guy. And that's because they need that emotional assurance that men really want to have sex with the woman as soon as possible. Mm-hmm. And that is not because we're all pigs. Some of us are. Mm-hmm. But that's because if the sex is good, then we're going to invest the time emotionally to get, and it's not, but that you're coming at things from two opposites. Now everybody can have a one-night stand. I say have as many one-night stands as you want, men and women, as long as it's consensual and everybody has a good time, and wear a condom. Unless you're on the pill. But get tested. Whatever. Yeah. So let's talk about the shit pile that is the world. Mm-hmm. And on the right and the left. So I will say this. I am very proud, for the most part, of my friends on the left mm-hmm. who are mad at everyone. Mm-hmm. As opposed to my friends on the right who are only mad at the sexual assaulters on the left. You cannot decry Al Franken and support Roy Moore.
No.
Or Harvey
Or the president, who has been accused by like 14
right. And then President shit the bed. I apologize.
Which one are we talking about?
President Trump. tweeted like a smarmy thing at Al Franken. Yes, it's
and he spelled Frankenstein wrong, which honestly was one of the more egregious things.
At this point, it's just so much. By the way, my friend's daughter was banned by Mike Pence in a day. I feel like I'm losing
your touch.
I don't. What do I got to do? So now here's the thing. There are differences between the Donald Trump thing and the Al Franken thing, which is the Al Franken admitted he may have done wrong, mm-hmm. whereas Trump is still in denial. But let's compare Roy Moore to Harvey Weinstein. And Donald Trump to Harvey Weinstein. Harvey Weinstein has denied everything. These are all just allegations. Now, I don't think anyone's surprised that Harvey Weinstein turns out to be a piece of shit. And again, it also depends on, look, I don't run in those circles. Mm-hmm. I'm not that popular. Yeah. So I think we all knew Harvey Weinstein was a fat, hairy, creepy guy. But I didn't know about these allegations. Yeah. You know what I mean? Because I'm not that level. I'm just a working writer with a Hyundai, But he did have a reputation for being a real piece of shit in terms of trying to fuck everybody over.
Methods, yeah.
So I don't think anybody was shocked.
Well, and it's also like I was actually listening to a different podcast that wasn't even about that. It's like about pop culture, but they were talking about like this girl. She was on a show in the 90s, and she still kind of works now. But she was like, I knew about Harvey Weinstein, and I've never worked on his show. I've had a friend who was like a PA on one of his movies, who was like the women warn each other. They're like, don't go anywhere with him. Like, don't be alone with him. Like, don't like. So it's been like, if you're that close, you start to know, but nobody else. Really
but I think it's different. Where I'm a writer. It's a very monastic existence. Yeah. If you're an actress, you're going to talk with other actresses. Yeah. And so that I get. Yeah. But the main thing being that. No one was surprised that Harvey Weinstein turned out to be a real piece of shit. I think we all can believe the women in this case. Kevin Spacey, I had no idea. I mean, we all knew he was gay.
Well, they do jokes on the show Difficult People, and I think Seth MacFarlane has done a lot of jokes about him on Family Guy, like Suey running from the basement. Yeah, I've heard, I knew he was gay.
Yeah, but that was the thing with his announcement that pissed everybody off, including me. Yeah, it's like, dude, really?
Like, playing to the stereotype that gay men like little boys.
Well, but also, see, I think it was trying to, my bad, but don't hate me because, you know,
yeah, but
the gays.
it really did have that underlying thing that a lot of people on the right think that, like, gay men like to touch little boys.
No,
and
it pissed me off.
Like,
that pissed me off.
Set them back.
And I have gay friends who were really angry at what he did, and they should be. But let's talk about Roy Moore for a second. You cannot
be banned from a mall.
Wow. Do you know? Now, here's the thing. 48-year-old single man who goes to Lolly and Pops. I literally am the single white guy that goes to the candy store at the mall, which I will admit looks very weird, but really good selection of candy, and their truffles are really good. And it's all I got left. I can't drink. I can't do drugs.
Yeah, you got
I have candy and pie
and coffee
and carbs.
Yeah.
Like my friends are on the keto thing, which is like no carbs or anything. They're like, you should do this. I'm like, no. Pasta when I want it. Cheese all fucking day long.
Yeah, what would you do?
And I would fucking hit myself in the head with a claw hammer.
Angriest
I would be, not a pleasant thing. I've got 2 bags. They had the Lindor milk chocolate truffles, 2 bags for $4. Anyway, so I go there. I go to the Lego store, and I'm not banned from the mall. Do you know how fucking creepy, especially in the 80s?
Right, because I mean, children were getting like murdered left and right in the 80s, from snatched from malls, and you got banned. You got banned.
Yeah, you're dressed like Tom Hanks in Toy Story. Whatever. Woody. You're dressed like Woody, and you're at the mall. You know, you got banned from the mall, and the YMCA.
Like that, you really
you are creepy as fuck. Yeah.
Stuff.
And so here's the thing.
And he signed a high school girl's yearbook.
Oh, and then they denied it and said it was like it was like one of those robo sign things. It's like, who's carrying that around? So you just admit it. You're just a piece of shit.
He's still up in Alabama though.
You see, I don't know. Those polls are stinted. I think he'll lose. I do. But you can't. But this is where we have this lack of leadership from President Trump, where, you know, you lost the popular vote, asshole. I shouldn't say ass. I'm sorry. I'm really trying to respect the office. But you lost the popular vote. You just proposed a tax bill that takes away tax breaks for teachers to buy school supplies and gives an added tax break for people who own Lear jets. You did not close the loophole for people who own golf courses, which is not self-serving at all. And you go after Al Franken, and you don't go after Roy Moore. Now I will say this. Roy Moore, of course, deny.
His wife is just...
And his wife is like Bill Cosby's wife. She knows.
Oh, yeah.
She knows.
It's bad enough if your husband is an assaulter of grown women. Like, that's bad.
Yeah.
But you're 32 going after a 14-year-old, and so many people on the right are like, age of consent 16. It's
well, and also,
a couple years.
You know, because of Jesus.
Oh, that
pissed me off. So, but here's the thing. So here's where, you know, we have a difference. Where okay, Louis C.K. admitted what he did, and that's good. Maybe don't do it in the first place. But
it was like kind of a non-apology.
Well, no, it was. Come on, I think it was an apology. But remember, again. I am not justifying what he did in the slightest. Oh, and here's another hint for some of you young boys out there who might be listening to this show. I'm going to give you a list of places it's okay to masturbate. In your room when you're alone. Uh-huh. In your living room when you're alone.
In your shower.
In your shower when you're alone, or if you're with a girl who's into that sort of thing.
And you already have established a relationship. Yeah. You're not her boss.
In your car, if it's parked in the garage and you're alone. In the kitchen, if you're alone and the knives are put away. Not at the mall, not in the park, not in the, you know, just, and maybe I'm old-fashioned. I don't know. I believe, here's what I believe about masturbation. Should be done alone. It certainly isn't choice A, and you should feel ashamed when you're done. No.
Yeah, the little death.
You should just sort of feel like, tonight was sad.
Yeah,
you know, it shouldn't be what are you guys doing? We're going to go get pizza. Okay, before you do, would you ladies like to see my wiener? And by the way, ladies, the answer is always no.
Well, it's...
No.
It's interesting I knew about Louis C.K. about 5 years ago. Only because either Jezebel or Gawker talked to a bunch of female comedians anonymously, and they told all these horrible stories, but it was so many that I was like, oh, he totally does this.
Yeah, and
the one that really made me mad is that he blocked 2 women from leaving a hotel room.
That pisses me off.
Like that.
Yeah, that pisses me off.
It's bad enough that you're doing that in the position where they feel like they can't say no because you're this big person and like all this stuff, or also separate the art from the shit that you like. Like, yeah, in the comedy world, you say, "Oh, want me to take my dick out?" Like in a group, like a comedian might do that, and like, yeah, that's iffy, but it's also kind of like for the joke, and then you put it away.
Yeah.
But then when you're forcing people to watch you, like separate it. Like,
well, but also, and here's where we have problems is, when we look at this situation where. And then the thing with Al Franken, my problem with the main stuff, like, this is going to sound terrible, so prepare the yellings. Harvey Weinstein to me isn't as disappointing because he was always a piece of shit. He's a fucking monster.
Yeah.
But he's always a piece of shit. But with Louis C.K., you had such virtue signaling in terms of being an advocate for women and this and that and whatever. And
probably his guilt complex.
Right. Al Franken, so much virtue signaling. And then on the right, even though I think he's a piece of shit, Roy Moore, Bible, Constitution, whatever, you know what I mean? Virtue signaling, that's the virtuous on the right. Donald Trump, who's a piece of shit, President Trump, who's a piece of shit, sort of found religion all of a sudden. It's the virtue signaling and then the betrayal, right? But where you're going to yell at me is, as we've seen recently. Now, I am absolutely not dismissing that photo, which is a bad photo
of Al
Franken. Where I will say this. It doesn't look like he's actually touching her. It's a fake grope, and it's just an immature, stupid thing, But it's not groping, okay? But with every other story, like when I tweeted at him with hashtag dumbass and said, and I tweeted at him with the whole, because as a guy who works in this industry and loves this industry, that whole we need to practice the kiss thing just pisses me off so much because it's so bleh.
Contrived?
Well, it's not just that. It's just icky.
Yeah.
It's that, it's just icky. I don't have another. I wish I had a more mature word for it, but you go, ew, dude, ew. Like I can only think of 2 words, icky and cooties, and nothing has to do with it. But but with every other person that's had something come forward with them. Like, that lady who made that accusation should have been followed up by 9 other women who made you know what I mean? And it's only her so far, which is weird in the sense of, because I tweet, like, where there's one, there's more. But Al Franken came out and said, I do not remember it that way. Okay? Now, again, I want to believe the victims, okay? Especially in right now. But now, I still think more women may come forward. But if they don't, if this really ends up being the only one, that is so rare that you would only do something like that once. That maybe she is remembering it differently. I'm not saying that as a fact right now. I'm saying as a... But here's the thing, and then I will shut up, I promise. I will put my privilege aside and let you rant. As we discussed, I've been through a lot this year with someone very dear to me, and I have opened my eyes to the fact that, sexual assault and rape happen a lot more than we would hope. Especially sexual assault or sexual misconduct, let's call it, where, women are groped all the time, and it's terrible. And you shouldn't have to go through your fucking day worrying about some guy putting his hand on your ass. The only time you shouldn't have to worry about that is like every day And the only time that should ever be a thing is if you're a stripper.
Right.
And then you know, and even then I think the policy is don't touch. So, you know, but I do also think, and this is from personal experience, the false allegations are higher than we report. I know 2 guys that were, and for one man to know 2 guys who were falsely accused, one of sexual misconduct in the workplace and one of a very serious sex crime, both falsely accused. And what they each, the guy with the sexual misconduct in the workplace was a lot easier for him to clear up and show proof. But what they had to spend on attorneys and how they were instantly blackballed and their lives ruined and psychologically damaging, because these were good guys who would never do this. The other guy, holy fuck, I mean, his life was turned upside down for like 5 years of being looked at as a predator, and the money he had to spend in terms of clearing his name. And then in the end, none of that worked. What ended up happening was the people who accused him admitted that they knew all along it wasn't him. And it was a member of their family that did it, but he had money. It's terrible. And I'm not saying that the false accusations are a huge number. They say it's like 3%. I think it might be more like 4 or 5.
I really don't think so. But I think it's a coincidence that you know that many people. Like,
then we can say it's just a coincidence that I've come to realize and know women that have had things happen to them. It can't be one or the other, and it's proportionally equal in the sense of the rape statistics and sexual assault statistics bear out that, yeah, it is a much higher number because of the amount of women I now know, especially in one instance where we can talk about it off air. I don't want to give stuff away, but you can't, in my opinion, and I could be wrong, just because you can't. I think it's wrong to say that, you know, believe all the women, but no, men are not falsely accused as much as we think.
Well, I really don't think they're, because I had a feeling that you were going to bring that up.
Well, no, I'm just bringing it up from personal experience.
Yeah, because
but I'm also saying it's not a huge. I'm not saying it's 40% of accusations. I'm saying I think the number might be a little.
Yeah,
high.
I still don't. I mean, because women have nothing to win by accusing. Maybe in that instance, because that guy had money, but it is. Sex crimes are the best crime for you to commit because it's he said, she said, and most people tear the woman apart.
I understand.
Their lives are ruined. And most women don't report for a long time because so many instances have happened to them, especially if they're in a family that's abusive or if they're in a relationship that's abusive or they constantly have that cycle of abuse and victimization. And
I totally agree.
They have nothing to, like, especially a lot of these women accusing these big players. A lot of people are like, oh, they're lying.
No, I'm not talking about that. No. I think all this shit is real. All I'm saying is if no other woman comes out and says Al Franken did this to them, maybe this woman is remembering it differently because it's so weird that he would only try that skeevy fucking thing once.
That's true.
Now I think more people are going to come out.
That's true. Or there could be, and there are a lot of women who maybe are socialized to think that isn't that bad or a big deal. So there might be a lot of women who he did something like that to, who are like,
yeah, but look at the amazing thing we're going through right now. What I think, it's terrible, but it's it's incredibly positive, which is this safety in numbers thing where they're breaking through this conspiracy of silence, where they're coming out. So I would hope if he did this to other women that they would come out.
Yeah.
But that's all I'm saying. But what I'm talking about in general, because I was doing a lot of research before this, which is, it's very interesting in the sense of when you look at statistics of women who have been raped compared to men who have been sexually assaulted, and outside of the prison system, because that's a totally horrible different thing. It's night and day. It's this is women, this is men.
Yeah.
And then you look into it deeper, and you know why? because they didn't start really recording numbers for men until 1998. And new studies, I read a study, it was very dry, but I read a study from the CDC from 2 years ago. It's basically, women of course higher, but men are victims of sexual assault. It's almost equal. It really is in terms of numbers reported, or not reported, but like it happens and they don't report it to the police. They don't want to, like, they did these really anonymous surveys that made people feel safe about it. And you know, it is as embarrassing and shameful for men because you know, and especially, you know, we have that dumb stick down there that when it, you know, it's very confusing, especially when it's man on man, but you know, but when it's women on men, it's very, I'm very fortunate it's never happened to me, but I don't know how that would feel, you know. All I'm saying is, let's not look at all men as the enemy, but let's be very wary of the virtue signaling men who are claiming to be your ally when they're really just massive pieces of shit.
They're just hoping that if they're moral out loud that nothing that they've ever done will come up.
Or no, I think it's worse than that. I think it's way more sinister than that. I'm sorry. I think if they're like, you know, I'm, you know, pro gender fluid, you know, I hate being a cisgendered white male because of my privilege, and I believe in you because you're a woman, and I'm, the patriarchy is bad, and this and that, and look, I got a shirt and I got the logo on it, and I'm here for you, and I'm defending you. Now let me get you alone for 5 minutes that I've completely gotten your defenses down because, quite frankly, I'm really a massive fucking piece of shit.
Well, I mean, there is that trope that is a true thing of like the nice guy who thinks like I'm a nice guy, and then he really is like a dick. And because he's like, but I'm nice. Why won't you sleep with me? Yeah. Like.
Well, but also but I think there's a lot of guys, like, especially, you know, I spend a lot of time on the YouTubes nowadays, and you know, in the social justice warrior community, especially on YouTube, there are countless incidents of these fucking assholes who are, you know, the white knighters and virtue signalers who turn out to be just fucking monsters. And, you know, I always try and make a distinction where I say women don't want a nice guy. Women want a good guy. And there's a difference. Like, I'm a nice guy, but I'm a good man. You know what I mean? Like, I can be a dick. I can be an asshole. We all have bad days. But I'm not going to be like a doormat and go, yes, you're right, and I'm a man, so I'm evil, because I don't think I am evil. I think I can be a dick. You know that. But this sort of, it is the equivalent of, our left is the virtue signaler of, I'm with her, hashtag me too, hashtag, you know, gender studies and the patriarchy is bad, and white people are, especially white men, are the root of all evil, and then they turn out to be rapey, assaulty sacks of shit. Whereas on the right you have, I'm a good Christian, I am a moral man, I believe in this,
gay
and I believe
people are bad, but I'll get caught having sex with a man.
And right, you know, and I am a moral individual, and so you can trust me, you can believe in me. Now, I'm going to take your daughter for pizza, don't ask questions. And they turn out to be pieces of shit. And it's always, in my opinion, and again, this is from my own personal experience, it's always the guy you kind of go, what an asshole. Like, kind of a dick. Like, you don't hate him, but you go, he, you know, like again, I use me as an example. I'm a liberal. Die in the fucking wool. I believe women are equal to men. I believe in equal rights. I believe in gay rights. I'm down for the cause. But because I don't necessarily virtue signal, people look at me and go, he's just, you know, he's a problem. And I'm not, you know, but it's the guy where they go, he's so good. He's, you know what I mean? He's doing the marches and he's doing this and he's doing that. And then he gets you home alone. And he's a fucking monster, you know.
It's kind of I'm really fascinated by it, and I think it's socialization in some ways, but still it's interesting. Like you said, you don't really think it's cultural, and so. But I think, how do so many men learn that behavior of like? It's interesting to think of like where a guy would learn to force himself on a woman. Like it's
no. I didn't say that wasn't cultural. No. I said the way men look at women is not cultural. That's lizard brain.
Yeah.
Boobies, mating, fertility.
Yeah.
Yeah. No. The whole and again, you don't learn to rape.
No. Yeah.
You either have bad parenting and bad wiring, or you don't.
It's interesting to think about the manipulation tactics too. People who, not necessarily rapists, but men who are very good at like, oh, we're not going to tell anybody about this, right? Like that whole like manipulation, like where.
Oh like, no, but that's I will say this. I think culturally we are producing more sociopaths.
Yeah, which is also fascinating.
Right, which is a totally different show.
Yeah.
Which we should probably do.
Yeah.
No, but I think that's different. Whereas, and I think there's a difference between seduction, where it's mutual.
Yeah.
And also I think women also have to be a little more honest in the sense of, if I hit on a woman, and when I say hit on a woman, I don't go up to her and go, let's go back to my place and da-da-da-da. But if I come up to you and I ask you out,
yeah,
and you're not attracted to me, that's not sexual misconduct. I'm sorry if you felt uncomfortable, but if I was Ryan Gosling, like if I was the most beautiful man in the world and well-spoken and came up to you and said, would you like to? I couldn't help it. I had to come up and talk to you. My name's Jonathan. I'm a sock model for the radio, and you're amazing, and I would love a chance to get to know you better. Maybe we can have coffee or something like that. If you're attracted to me, you go, that was so brave and nice, and you came right up to me. If you're not attracted to me, you're like, that made me very uncomfortable. But that's just a man, and it's so hard, especially nowadays, for a man to screw up that courage. That's one thing, and I think we need to understand that. You should kind of want men to still feel like they can do that.
Yeah.
Where you cross the line is where you go, so maybe we could go have coffee. No, I'm sorry. Well, what the fuck's your problem?
Yeah.
That
isn't interesting because that line with my Margaret Atwood, like, men are afraid women will laugh at them, but women are afraid men will kill them. And
right.
It's true.
And that's absolutely true.
I agree about, like, the honesty and, like, being more honest of, like, oh, sorry, I'm not interested. But it is, I get scared, like, turning a guy down because you don't know what they're going to do, so it's easier to just be like, maybe. Like,
no, I'm not even saying about that, but I'm saying how women view that.
Oh, viewing it, yeah.
Which is that's not sexual assault.
No.
And we had a line of commercials a couple of years ago where women were on camera talking about, I get raped every day walking down the street, but the way men stare at me. And that's not rape. It diminishes the horrible act of rape, Leering is not rape. Leering is creepy as fuck and it's wrong. I'm sure I get caught all the time.
It's not that hard to check out somebody without them noticing actually checking them out.
My problem is I have very bad vision and no depth perception, so I'm at a big disadvantage. All right, so look, but let's talk about the real enemy, Lena Dunham. So
I still don't know what happened.
So Lena Dunham, who I think we can all agree is a piece of shit. First of all, Girls is really overrated. She's a terrible person. This is a woman who admitted to sexually molesting her little sister. What guy would still have a career? And the feminist that came to her defense when she did that was like, so brave of her to come out. No! That's bad person.
Yeah.
So I guess and I apologize. It is someone she has worked with, a man who has been accused of rape of an actress when she was 17.
Who is it?
Matt something. I think it's one of the producers on Girls.
Or is it the Mad Men guy, Matt Weiner?
No, that's different. No. This is someone who...
He also was accused.
Yeah, and he vehemently denies it, as they all do. So this guy, of course, vehemently denies it. Now, here's the thing where I start to look and I try and differentiate. Like with Harvey Weinstein, it's kind of tough. With Roy Moore, it's kind of tough because these happened so long ago. Although the Harvey Weinstein stuff, the stuff that happens recently, these women are going to the police now, which is great.
Yeah.
This woman that is accusing this, I think he's a producer on Girls, of raping her when she was 17. The reason we know about this isn't because she called HuffPost. It's because she went to the sheriff's station and filed a fucking police report. That to me, and you correct me if I'm wrong, that is next level shit. That is, if you were sort of if you were doing it for some other reason it didn't really happen, going to the police is the worst fucking idea. You play it out in the press. She went to the sheriffs, right? So to me, that automatically gives her a lot of credence. Lena Dunham comes out and says she doesn't believe this girl because she's worked with this guy and her, she's moral, but she has to protect the people that have been good to her and protect her. It's like, you piece of shit. Oh, yeah, maybe keep your goddamn cake hole shut. But also, to me, it's just this inherent thing. Lena Dunham's not a good person. And by the way, you don't molest a child once, I think. Like, I think she's probably really fucking evil. And this thing about, I'm a feminist. Oh, but I like this guy and I don't really know you or like you, so you're a liar. Like, she called her a liar.
A lot of people do, and women included, like, where they're like, well, he's never done that to me. And, like, that or women and men will do that. Well, he's never done that to me, or I've never seen that. Like, that doesn't mean that it's not true, girl. Like,
right, but what I'm saying is, again, virtue signaling. Lena Dunham, I am so brave because I don't work out and I post pictures of me in a bra. And that's not brave. That's narcissistic. I'm sorry. You know why you never see me in a tank top?
No.
Because I care. And I don't think anyone should have to be put through that. And so you're welcome. So it's this virtue signaling, and then all of a sudden, though, and this guy, of course, is saying, I vehemently deny this, and I'm putting proof together that's going to show she is lying. But maybe shut the fuck up, Lena Dunham. You're a terrible individual, and I don't like you.
I feel like I don't get why she said that. I don't know why I said that. But I mean, I feel like, and this might be wrong too, is it's almost like she's trying to win some favor back with some of the people who normally discount women who already always go after her. Like, is she doing it to try to be like, look, I'm fair too. Like, I don't just like do feminist.
No, she's doing it because she's a fucking crazy person who's completely duplicitous and full of shit. That's the thing I hate. It's like, well, and to your point of just because it doesn't happen to you, I don't know if you've seen any of these interviews, and I believe them. When you look at guys like, Jon Stewart, Mark Maron, Joe Rogan, who all knew Louis C.K. And just shocked as fuck. Like Jon Stewart, who I give Jon Stewart a little more credence just for the fact of he's been a family man for so long. Like, he would go into New York, he would do the show, and then he would just go home. And he wasn't like going out or whatever. And Mark Maron, I think, had heard rumors. Joe Rogan, I don't know if he heard rumors or whatever, but like, I'm watching Joe Rogan because he does what we do, just way more successfully.
He's number one.
It's a great podcast, by the way.
Colin loves it.
It's an amazing podcast. And I watch it on the YouTubes.
Joe annoys the shit out of me. I think I understand why people like him, but he just annoys me.
One of the greatest stand-up comedy shows I ever saw was Joe Rogan. It was like, it was maybe 2000, 2001, at the Improv on Melrose, New Year's Eve night.
He's doing it at the Wiltern now, too.
He did 2 hours. That is exhausting and not easy. Started at a little before 10. And right after the New Year's Eve, 10, 9, and we called it, and then he did, he thanked everybody for coming, and then not everything hit, of course, 2 hours, but fuck me, that was one of the most amazing, like, I liked Joe Rogan, I like Joe Rogan from News Radio, because I like News Radio as a sitcom. I hated Fear Factor. I don't want to watch people drink horse semen and eat ants. But the minute that I went to that show, I left with such respect for that fucking guy. But I'm watching Joe Rogan. You can tell he's like, fuck.
Yeah.
And then there's the thing where...
Even Sarah Silverman, because I think she was too big.
Yeah.
She was like... I had no idea. Whereas, like, the women who were, like, a little bit lower level comedians were all, like, we all knew because we all told each other.
I think Sarah's having a tough week because, she has that new show on Hulu called
I Love America.
And she had Al Franken on a couple weeks ago.
I would have too if I were her.
No, I know, but that's got to be, you know what I mean? They're like, they're having this big love fest and doing this sketch. But there's also a thing with guys who aren't into rape, where we get really angry at ourselves for not recognizing, you know what I mean? Like, maybe I could have done something. Maybe I could have, and so these guys, Jon Stewart and everything like that, they're like,
well, and because women don't tell them, because we, in situations like that, I mean, even...
If you just noticed a gap, it's because we crossed the line.
Yeah, it's just in work environments in tech, this happens a lot. It was the more general thing I should have
And then you did tell the story about how, the only way you feel good after work is by strangling hamsters.
Yeah.
And that's wrong. And then Colin found all the dead hamster
that
bodies.
Song Peter Cottontail? Is it
Peter Cottontail?
He bops him on the head.
Oh no, that's Little Bunny Foo Foo.
Little Bunny Foo Foo.
And that's some fucked up shit.
Yeah.
Yeah, that Little Bunny Foo Foo is some dark shit.
Yeah.
Little Bunny Foo Foo hopping through the forest.
Yeah.
Scooping up the field mice and bopping them on the head.
Yeah.
And then along came the good fairy.
Yeah.
And said, Little Bunny Foo Foo, I don't want to see you.
Yeah.
Hopping through the forest and bopping little field mice on the head.
Yeah.
I'll give you 3 chances.
That's right. Yeah, that's weird.
Wow, that's good recall.
Yeah.
Now I have the song in my head.
Yeah, good job.
Fuck you, Angie.
You sang it. I didn't.
I didn't sing it. I word rapped it.
Yeah.
So okay, we're at an hour.
Yeah.
But we're gonna cut out that 30 minutes of you talking about strangling hamsters.
Yeah.
So let's move on from so let us agree. Everybody's terrible.
Yeah.
The left, I'm very proud of in the sense of decrying the left and the right. Like, there's no fucking around here, except for Lena Dunham, who's a terrible person and probably kills puppies. I assume.
She did do something with her puppy. There was some...
See?
Yeah.
See?
There was some weird... I don't think she didn't kill it, but I think she surrendered it or something, I think.
She's a bad person. She's a bad person. I assume. No, I know. So, when it comes to this, the women that are listening, I can say this as a 48-year-old man. I'm trying. I had good parents. I was raised with no means no and respect of women. But also, my mom was, she's from England. So there's a lot of that, Not that people don't get raped in England.
Yeah.
But, you open the door for the woman and this and that. And it's always, miss and whatever. And I actually, I think we could use a lot more of that. And probably could have for a long, long time.
Yeah.
Nothing wrong with being a dapper fella.
Or even just reciprocal, like being respectful of each other in general.
I agree. I absolutely agree. But, when it comes to things like but again, I just want to make sure we understand, like, look, with Roy Moore, man, where there's smoke, there's so much smoke. And I here's the thing. I would want to believe it regardless because he's such a piece of shit. Let's forget that these are all just allegations. Let's forget that. You were banned from the mall. You gotta give me a reason.
Like factual.
I need a reason why. Evidently, it wasn't shoplifting.
No.
Did you, what did you do? There's 2 reasons you're banned from the mall. Neither of them good. One is like stealing.
Yeah.
And one is because you're a pervy motherfucker driving around in a window.
Fucking teenagers.
Yeah, man. That's fucked up. And then the YMCA, which is weird because you'd think
was
he'd be
he
banned.
Walking into the locker room?
I don't know, but wouldn't he be banned from the YWCA? Or maybe such a small town only has one.
I went to the YMCA when I was like 5, so it's the 80s.
So you're banned from the YMCA and the mall. You are guilty as fuck of being a goddamn... And it's not a pedophile. It's...
I would consider it a pedophile. 14's like...
but there's something... No, there's a specific term, like hebephile, which is not about Judaism.
Super into Hebrew.
Yeah, he's super into latkes. He just loves a knish. Sexually attracted to Hamantashen.
Holla.
Holla. So So yeah, but there's a specific term for it where you're in puberty, like a hebeophile.
I've literally never.
I don't know, but again, let's go with pedo.
Yeah.
You know what? Let's just go with let's use the old school talk. He is a pervy motherfucker, and he should not be allowed. He's a pervy, rapey son of a bitch.
Yeah.
So let's agree on that. Donald Trump. The only reason the women were, people go like, well, if these women were telling the truth, they'd come forward more, or they'd have prosecuted, or whatever. The problem is filing a civil suit, a class action civil lawsuit against Donald Trump is one thing. Filing a class action civil lawsuit against the most powerful man in the world is completely different.
You have to be stupid if you think that those women would have any kind of a chance.
No, that's what I'm saying.
Yeah, no, I know. That's why, like, Sarah
Yeah.
Sanders uses all those fucking
Yeah.
excuses. Like, and then all these other people who are, like, defending Trump and not the women, like, well, why wouldn't they just have gone to the police? Even when he did that shit, he's still a name.
Well, and he was also very wealthy and powerful. And
they would have no chance.
Yeah, I mean, if it took this woman this long to come out about Al Franken, and Al, look, no, if we would call him a powerful mover and shaker in Hollywood. So there's a lot that goes on there. Let's spend the last, so we can agree, everybody sucks. But having said that, you have people like George Takei.
Yeah.
Now, as far as I know, it's only one person that's come forward. George Takei has denied it. Usually there's rumors about this stuff, and I've never heard. Then again, I hadn't heard about Harvey Weinstein.
Yeah, and that one, they're all kind of I've been thinking about it since you said about Al Franken. Like, maybe this is the only time. Part of me also kind of thinks, I don't know, that you could have done it one time or maybe two times, and then felt so guilty about it. Like, maybe you did something stupid. And there's a really interesting article that somebody, I don't remember if it was in like Washington Post, or this woman wrote about confronting her, or he assaulted her. She was at a party in college, and he was in her friend group. She woke up and he was on top of her trying to take her clothes off. Like, she was like sleeping and like maybe drunk, and he was like molesting her, and she like yelled at him, and he like went away, and he literally moved. Like, he left school, and so she met up with him like 10 years later or something, and she's talking to him, and like, obviously she's very angry at him still, but it was like, she's like, I need to like confront him, and he was like very ashamed. I mean, he could be fucking lying. He said he never did anything like that again. He said I don't know why I thought that was okay. I think it took me because like, I guess she told all of her friends right away, and they were like, get the fuck out, like, you like, they believed her obviously, like, and like went on with it, and he was like, I don't know why I thought that was okay. I just felt like I needed sex or whatever, and I thought that was maybe an okay way to do it because you were in my room and like all this stuff. And then from what it sounds like, he like never did it again. Now he could be a lying sack of shit sociopath, but maybe that. But Al was also like an adult. This guy was like 19, but like it still is like, I mean, maybe. And
again, not excusing anything the guy did, but he was
all.
19 and drunk and stupid and horny as balls. Not that that's an excuse. But that is one thing where if you're a decent guy and you wake up the next morning, okay, maybe he is ashamed. It's still fucking wrong. But Al Franken was an adult and sober.
Yeah.
Now, again, all I'm saying is this. For the real pieces of shit, Harvey Weinstein, Roy Moore, let's not hold back. Let's go get him. I just don't want this ending up being a witch hunt where, Louis C.K. admitted it. Fine. Bill Cosby never admitted it, but we know he's a sack of shit, right? I mean, the evidence is profound. Al Franken apologized. He's called for his own ethics investigation, which is brilliant, by the way. And, having said that, again, if he's done this before, I would hope that women, or done it, or whatever, I do hope women will come forward. If nobody comes forward, again, I am not taking anything away from this woman. Maybe she is remembering it, like he said. But if he used the line, "We need to practice the kiss," like, he hasn't come out and said he never said that. So until he does come out and say, "I never said that," she's remembering it incorrectly, I'm siding with this woman.
Well, I mean,
because there's only one reason you use the line, we have to practice the kiss.
And I mean, I would side with it. It's a creepy photo and situation, regardless if he actually touched her, too.
I'm not saying it's not creepy, but it's not sexual assault.
Well, I would feel very violated.
No. I'm not saying you wouldn't feel violated. You'd feel embarrassed. You'd be... I think it's certainly more about the fact that she was fucking asleep when he did it. Like, if you were awake and somebody went,
But you also don't know what happened when their pictures were... I mean...
No, I understand, but let's not play that game, although, there's like, it looks like a soldier or something just passed out right next to her, too. Like, it's a 36-hour flight or something like that.
Well, I mean, even if people don't come out, though, like, maybe people... If there are other women, maybe they were like, I don't need to come out because I... not appreciate because you probably still don't have good feelings towards him, but like maybe you're like, at least he's doing something.
No. But to me that's just hypocrisy. Not for these women, for him. But no. I am actually saying, if you use the line, we need to practice this kiss. Ew. Because no, you don't. No, you don't. It's a comedy sketch. The kiss doesn't have to look... It's actually funnier if the kiss looks bad.
Yeah.
So you don't want to practice the kiss. You want it to be awkward and weird.
Yeah.
The only reason you want to practice the kiss is because you're icky.
Yeah.
Excuse me. All right. We're over an hour.
Right.
And I feel like I hogged the conversation again because I'm a man. So I'm going to sit and you can talk about all this shit and how it pisses you off. And what you want men to understand from a woman's standpoint.
I mean, that's a lot of pressure that you're putting on this.
Sorry, do you feel uncomfortable?
Well, no, I mean, it's also, whatever.
I mean, it's not like I've talked the whole time. We've had a conversation.
No, yeah, I mean, I think I've said...
You've said a lot.
Yeah, it's fine. It's just...
Or would you rather spend the last 5 minutes talking about the other fucking problem?
Which one?
There's the fucking pedo shit in Hollywood, the Corey Feldman thing.
I was gonna bring him up. It sucks how long he's been saying this and nobody believed him because he was this drug addict, probably because of the treatment that he received and when he was in the 80s. I got into a deep hole a couple months ago do you remember when Corey said that he was gonna be naming this?
Yeah.
Everybody kind of knew it was Charlie Sheen, and they said no, it's bigger than Charlie Sheen. Like it's like there's somebody bigger player in Hollywood who has this like thing, and he still like hasn't came out and said it. And because one, he's probably scared. Two, he's trying to peddle a book, which he deserves something after.
Film. No, but
that's right.
But that's where I had the problem, which was, dude. No, someone needs to sit him down and go, no one's going to give you $10 million to do a film. Just come out and name the guy, and you know what I mean?
I think I just pity him because he was not believed for so long. Like, you're kind of sad, but...
Yeah, I think... Now, my problem with the Charlie Sheen... Did Charlie Sheen ever admit to... Like, the thing about raping Corey Haim in between two trailers on the set of Lucas during lunch break. Mm-hmm. You both have trailers. Why would you do it outside during lunch? People are still walking around. That to me, I go, that part...
Maybe that's what he likes, though.
No, but come on. That to me, I go, don't get me wrong. Charlie Sheen's a piece of shit. I know it.
And I do think... not an excuse, but for him. But I think that he was probably abused too, and then he turned into the abuser.
Oh, probably.
So I totally believe Charlie Sheen did stuff
to Corey Haim.
Yeah.
But has he ever been linked to homosexual activity in the past? Because I know he's
Well, I think there's a difference. I don't know. It's hard, because I think that there are men who could be into
little boys.
Young little boys.
And I shouldn't say homosexuality. Pedophilia.
Yeah, but
because Corey Haim was a very underdeveloped, crap.
Did it stop?
No, it was just a big beep on the computer, like this wave. But again, like Charlie Sheen is, I think we know, a somewhat sad but somewhat despicable man, the way he treats women, and again, I'm not even talking about how he treats women. Mm-hmm. I'm talking about knowing you're HIV positive and not telling your partner, you're a piece of shit, bro. But
is it HIV or Hep? Or
oh no, it's
HIV. That's right.
HIV.
I forgot. That just came on.
So the problem is really, where Corey Feldman made a misstep was that video about trying to hit people up for money. Because here's the thing with Corey Feldman. Like, I've seen interviews in the past before all this broke where Corey Feldman was talking about how that thing was on Howard Stern. And he gets really upset. This is like he doesn't understand why Scorsese's going to DiCaprio and not him. It's like, dude, I'm sorry. Yeah. You were never that good of an actor. No. You were a cute kid, but you come on. Yeah. Like, someone needs to sit like DiCaprio. Did you ever see What's Eating Gilbert Grape?
No, but I remember.
I didn't know who DiCaprio was. I thought he was fucking retarded. Yeah. Like, when I saw him in an interview and he's talking normal, I'm sorry, but mentally challenged, retarded.
Yeah.
I was like, wow, that guy's good.
Yeah.
Like, oh my God, that's amazing.
I mean, on Growing Pains, he was great. Also, it was like
he was on Growing Pains.
He was the troubled teenager that they took in.
And the weird thing about that was ended up being Kirk Cameron was the really troubled teenager. He's cuckoo. He's cuckoo.
Yeah.
I'm going to disprove evolution with a banana.
There's something wrong with him.
That's a whole different story.
Yeah.
So the problem is, I don't like the idea of calling it a pedophile ring. I love this business and I love this town, and I think the problem is so much more about just disproportionate power, but also bad people find their level. You know what I mean? This doesn't just happen in the entertainment industry. It happens in politics. It happens everywhere. Child molesters. I'm just, I look at these assholes and they give the business that I love such a bad name. And, it makes everybody think that everyone in this business is a terrible person because it's all coming out at the same time. Mm-hmm. But man, for the most part, we do our job. We go home. We have families. I mean, I don't because I'm a man-child. But you know what I mean? Like the vast majority of people, they work in this industry because we love telling stories or acting or doing editing or making props. And it's our worst day, rape and pedophilia aside. Mm-hmm. But like your worst day at the office is better than like 90% of America's best day. You know what I mean? Yeah. It's like, so it's it just that, and then I go through my own experiences where you've had run-ins with people, and at the time maybe they said something and you thought it was a little odd, or you were somewhere that seemed a bit off, and then and so you leave or whatever, and then you think, I've been thinking like, oh my God, was I at a weird pedo party for a second, or did I represent someone that was into 13-year-old girls, or so you question everything, and it's that Jesus fucking Christ, but you don't think about it. You don't think like the people you do business with. Like if you're a normal guy, I use normal in a very broad sense of the term. You think everybody's normal, and you've got to be really fucking weird to seem really fucking weird. Mm-hmm. So that's we just have to. I don't know how to fix that problem of child molestation in the entertainment industry.
Do you know who Entertainment Lawyer is? He's on Twitter. It's a pseudonym, obviously. But he does a lot of blind items, usually innocuous. Like when Brad and Angelina were breaking up, he had that blind item like 8 weeks before. Like he really is in the industry, so he's been talking a lot about the pedophile stuff. And his shit's really fascinating to read through. You get into a rabbit hole about it. And again, who knows what's true or not. But he was talking about, and I didn't ever realize this, nobody believed the Menendez brothers. Like, that the reason that they killed their dad and mom was because the mom was covering up for the dad who molested them and abused them. And it sounds like there's, starting to come more corroboration that Jose Menendez was seriously abusing young men. And it's like, nobody believed these guys who did what they thought they had to do. I mean, I've heard that story a million times because I love true crime, so I was like, oh, they're spoiled little rich kids.
Right.
All they want is their money.
Right.
And it's like,
our own bias, you know.
Yeah.
But what's going to be really, really interesting, and we'll know if we're at a real watershed moment, is if in the next month men start coming out accusing women of sexual misconduct in politics and the entertainment industry. And I think this is going to sound wrong, and then we'll... sorry. I think this is a very positive thing. I do. I mean, it's terrible to say that, but I think all these people coming forward, if we pay attention and we don't do what Americans always do, which is big uproar, and then we
let Mel Gibson get nominated for an Oscar.
When did he get nominated for an Oscar?
Last year.
For what?
Hacksaw Ridge.
Fuck. And now he's in Daddy's Home too.
Will Ferrell, why the fuck would you work with him?
Yeah, dude. Anyway.
Nobody should see that movie anyway because it looks like garbage.
Yeah, it looks like crap. But I'm going to go see Justice League. That looks fun. So, you know, if we don't just go, yes, and bored. Yeah. Squirrel. You know, this could end up being very positive. But it's got to come from both sides. If the people on the right look at the people on the left, especially the people on the left who are decrying, coming out and saying, yeah, okay, let's make sure the Harvey Weinsteins and the Louis C.K.'s of our business are not allowed to prosper or maybe allowed to prosper, but not do what they do. The people on the right have to go, Roy Moore's a piece of shit, and I can't say... like the fucking governor of Alabama, you're better than this, Alabama, said, yes, I believe the women, but I'm still going to vote for Roy Moore. Because he's Republican. Fuck you.
And that happened a long time ago.
Yeah, well, so did some of the Harvey Weinstein stuff.
Yeah, though that's what their excuse is. Like,
anyway, it's all...
Everything's fucked.
It's all...
And we're never going to get rid of President Trump. It's going to be King Trump. We're not.
No, it'll happen. Yeah, no, it's going to happen. Especially if he tries to repeal the Jefferson Act.
Well, they're about to cut the tax... Well, whatever. That's not... Like, poor grad students aren't going to be able to use the tax deduction anymore.
I know.
People who want to adopt
All right, let's talk about this off air, because we're going to take a little pee break, and then we'll get back into it.
Yeah.
All right, so listen, everybody. This was a very long one, but I think it was a worthwhile conversation. Thank you.
Yeah.
Next week, we're going to do something a little more fun. Next week... or in 2 weeks, it's you have a mystery episode. Stump the tinfoil hat wearing chump.
I don't think it's really about stumping.
Oh, I thought it was kind of. That was fun.
Something.
That was fun for me. It's a challenge to know how much of my life.
But I'm not like quizzing you.
No. But it's to me, it's like how much of my life have I wasted? Will I know this?
Yeah.
So tune in as Angie tries to stump me or brings up a topic that I have not been briefed on.
Yeah.
And look, tell us how you feel. Is all these accusations, everything that's going on? Do you think it's positive? Do you think it's bad? By the way, I'm going to go ahead and say it. If you think it's bad, you're a bad person.
If you think it's bad that women are coming out. Yeah. I'm like, well, of course if you think it's bad that they're doing it.
Now again, but should we not err on the side of caution, but be open to the fact that while the vast, vast majority of women coming forward are definitely telling the truth, let's be wary of those seeking... Like the George Takei thing. I want to be a little more open-minded. It's the first thing I've ever heard of anybody. You know what I mean? Like, I don't want to... Because he's so Takei.
Yeah.
And he's been such an icon, and he's been so cool for such an old bastard. But then on the other side, Lena Dunham, you're a piece of shit. You're a piece of shit. Feminism, not you. Feminism, not you. It's like, empower the women, shut up. Yeah. Fuck you.
Yeah.
And I can say this, fuck you, you child molester.
Yeah.
Because you admitted it. And just because you were a child when you did it doesn't make it okay.
Yeah.
So anyway, so I digress. Maybe I just really hate girls, and I don't, the show, not actual girls. I'm just so annoyed as a writer that got on the air.
Yeah.
It really pisses me off. All right, no music this week because my computer is weird, but probably music on the YouTube thing. So listen, leave your comments. I really want to know. I don't know how we get past this. I mean, I hope we can. Again, men aren't perfect. Women aren't perfect. Men are better than this, but women also need to understand that not every guy is, not every guy you think that comes across as crusty and old-fashioned is the enemy, and not every guy that virtue signals is your friend and confidant. You gotta, take them as they come. Anyway, any last thoughts?
No.
Yeah, you're just done. All right. Thanks, Angie.
Yeah.
All right. Bye, everybody.
Bye.